What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Okay, so I'm joined back with William Shaffer. This is part two of a two-part conversation. The previous conversation was based on William's new novel, which is in the description below. So please do watch that. And I wanted to get William and keep William on the show because we're going to talk about some of the issues that obviously are facing us all, wherever we are right now. Anyone that's listening to this or watching this interview is being affected by the coronavirus. And I think the more I can get people on like William to look at it from a spiritual perspective, the more we can, just see it from a different point of view. So, I mean, obviously, William, you're in Wales right now. And, how has it affected you right now? I guess going shopping's different. I guess everything changed overnight, didn't it, for you?
The complete United Kingdom is in total lockdown. So no one can enter or leave the country. There are hardly any flights anywhere. You can go outside only if you have a medical appointment, to pick up medical prescriptions, to shop for food, or to get some exercise. But nobody can be closer than 6 feet apart. If you're standing in lines, they let a minimum amount of people into stores, and if you have to wait in line, you have to be the 6 feet apart. And it's total lockdown, and everybody pretty much has to stay indoors.
Yeah. Are you on a high risk at all?
I'm high risk because I have diabetes and high blood pressure, and I'm on a lot of medications. So that makes me high risk.
And have you noticed people wearing masks when you go out just to normal shopping? Is that taking place?
I see a few. They haven't made masks mandatory here yet. You do see them, but you see more people not so far.
Okay. Well, obviously, you're American, you're in the UK. I'm British, and I'm over in the States right now, which is kind of a bit of a swap of culture. That's why I was just asking you what's going on back at home. I call it home still.
Yeah.
But over here, William, things are a bit different. There's a lot of panic over here right now.
Oh, there's a lot of panic here. There's a lot of panic. And, people are very, very one extreme or the other. People are extremely helpful and, really being considerate and helpful to others, or people are in total panic. They're kind of like one extreme or the other over here.
So now you always, I've known you over many years as a past life reader, and I'd come see you and your partner now and then when I could do, and I do remember you talking about a great change. You always mentioned it. There was a great change coming, and lots of people in our field have always talked about 2012 being the great change and everything else, but it was never that. It was never that. Yes, that was some shift in the sense that maybe just for people to think about what 2012 could possibly be to them at the time, but this is different. This is something that maybe you've talked about before, but not in this way. So I'll let it over to you.
Yeah, coming from a spiritual and karmic point of view to explain what's going on. Mother Earth is a conscious living being. She's just not this big planet of dirt and rock. She is a conscious living being. And she is expanding and growing as all beings do in existence. Earth has been this, what I call, university of karma for thousands of years. And humans have projected every negativity and fear and blame and judgment and resistance and denial and avoidance we've been projecting into her for centuries, for eons. And much of the physical pollution in the world is partly a manifestation of all the crap we've been denying in ourselves and projecting into Mother Earth. Well, we're at the end of that pattern now. Mother Earth is done as a karma school. She is now in the final stage in a process of cleansing, healing, and transforming as she's accelerating the vibrations of her energies into a higher frequency of energy and consciousness. She's in the final stages of that. It's a death and rebirth process. And as Mother Earth is in this transformational process, it is provoking every living being on her into the same process. We all are in this process, whether we want to or not, whether we like to or not, whether we believe it or not, whether we're aware of it or not. We're in the process. As she is accelerating her vibrations, it's forcing us to do the same. Unfortunately, the vast majority of humans, for one reason or another, are not ready and willing to do this. Most humans are stuck in the pattern. They want to believe in a God who's an external and separate being, and you just have to believe in this God in the right way, and this God will do it all for you and save you. And this is not the way reality works at all. And people are having to either wake up to own their stuff and take responsibility for their self-creation, or they're having major problems. And this is what's happening right now. Mother Earth is doing what she needs to do to cleanse, to heal, to transform. And she is releasing all the eons of crap and denial, anger and judgment and fear that we have projected into her. We have to take ownership and work through this, or we cannot move forward with her. Now, there's no judgment in this. People have to be very careful not to see this as some kind of judgment. Karma has no judgment. There's no such thing as good or bad karma. There's no such thing as karmic reward or karmic punishment. This is all the imagination of the human mind. Karma is pure physics. What you put out comes back to you. It's pure physics. And it's energy always expanding and integrating and balancing itself. This is what karma is. And the earth process is forcing us to take ownership of ourselves, or we can't be here with her anymore. But if we are putting ourselves in a position where we don't want to take responsibility, we don't want to take ownership, we want to hold on that there's some messiah or guru or master who's going to save us, if you're going to hold on to that, you're going to meet your consequences. But there's no judgment. It's simply everybody's got to be in the rightful place. All energy has to be in its rightful place. And for Mother Earth to evolve, she has to cleanse and transform. And we either shift with her, or we got to go somewhere else to continue our karma university. And that's fine if that's what's going to happen. There's no judgmental value in that. You're not superior if you're moving forward with her, or inferior if you're not. There's no such thing. There's no hierarchy. There's no superior or inferior. This doesn't exist. It's simply every consciousness has to be in its rightful, needful place. And, yeah? Okay. And many, many people are not willing to move forward with Mother Earth. And for whatever reason, that's fine. That's fine. Everybody evolves in their own way at their own rate. But because Mother Earth is moving on, those who will not move on with her have to be removed to continue their lifetime somewhere else. That's okay. But that's what's going on. So Mother Earth, being the most clever, efficient being I have ever encountered, she creates this little virus and sends it out, and it's doing this extremely efficient job. She's created the virus to force people to have to be inside alone with themselves. This period with the coronavirus is an opportunity to go within, go deep within yourself and really meet who you are, what do you believe, what are your goals, where is your passion, how are you limiting and denying yourself, what do you want to do with that? It's a time to really go in for the deepest self-discovery. This is what we're supposed to be doing with the lockdown. But people who don't want to do that, they're in fear, they're panicking, they're going out buying everything in sight, thinking that's going to take care of any problem, trying to find antidotes to the virus. Mother Earth is clever. She's going to keep mutating the virus over and over and over. Scientists in Iceland have discovered that there have already been over 300 mutations of the virus. She's one step ahead of us. The point isn't to get rid of the symptoms, though easing the symptoms when you're ill is something you do want to do. You do want to take care of the symptoms, but it's not just that. You've got to do the inner process. And if you're not doing the inner process with the working with the symptoms, you're taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward. It's not going to work. So Mother Earth wants humans to be inside, be quiet, not be running away from themselves, being busy in the head and busy in activities all the time, and really take a deep, honest look at themselves and really be clear. What is truth to them? What are they fearing? What are they denying and resisting? Why? What do they want to do with it? And those who are not willing to do that are the ones that are being pulled out to continue their process however they need to somewhere else.
Well, let me ask you this, William. Let me ask you this. Okay, so you say that the ones that are not doing that are doing, moving on somewhere else. But if you got to speak to that soul or a soul that's crossed on due to Corona, they may say to you, you know what? It was also my time.
Oh, that's true too. That's true too. But part of the reason that it was their time may have been they're done with needing to be here and they're ready to go elsewhere, wherever they need to go next. There are many reasons why it was simply their time, but the people, those who are meant to move forward with Earth, will do so. And those who need to go somewhere else, then they will go somewhere else. But there's no judgmental quality in that, There's no hierarchy here whatsoever. It's just every consciousness being where it most needs to be, for whatever reasons.
Well, then why is it worse in some countries than it is in others? Because obviously, Italy. I mean, look at their death toll. I mean, it's been
and
enormous.
Spain.
And Spain, yeah.
Souls in any given lifetime, we choose the country, we choose the society we are born into, because it reflects some of the karmic issues we need to work on as individuals. So the souls who are in, let's talk especially about Italy and Spain right now, because they're, two of the heaviest right now. Spain has a very heavy, unfinished karma, and that's about the Inquisition. What Spain did with the Inquisition, the tens of thousands of humans that they persecuted, tortured, burned at the stake because they weren't Catholic, because they didn't believe in God the way that they were supposed to. The Inquisition has created an intense karma that is still needing to be finished, that needs to be completed. And many of the souls who are in Spain now have reincarnated in Spain at this time because they were probably very much involved in that Inquisition. And again, it's not a punishment. It looks and feels like a punishment. It's easy to see it that way, but it's not. Karma doesn't punish. Karma is all about healing, transforming, balancing energy. So it's not, you're being punished because you were in the Inquisition. It's not that at all. It's simply energy that has to balance itself. And for some reason, whether it's just to experience the virus and recover, or experience the virus and die, whatever, it is providing some kind of experiential energy they need for the healing and transformation within themselves. But there was this deep, heavy karma, group consciousness karma in Spain with the Inquisition that is seeking to be finished, because Mother Earth is relinquishing everything that we pushed into her. So it has to be handled. But again, it's hard to see this without seeing victimization, but it's not. And it's not punishment. It's simply you've got to experience what you need to integrate and transform and balance your energies. And for those who have the virus and survive, it's going to change their lives and change their consciousness in some way that otherwise it wouldn't have done before. And for those who are dying and moving on, is to send them wherever they need to go that will help them best to resolve these unfinished issues in them.
But obviously, there's been a lot of very young people die from this as well, young couples.
But you're talking about the age of the body. We're talking about the soul inside of the body.
Yes. Now, obviously, people that have lost loved ones right now could not and would not be able to hear this. I mean, this would be way too painful for them.
And I mean, this information. I mean, you cannot provide sympathy, for the people who are losing loved ones. I mean, that pain is just extreme. It's severe. And I don't think any explanation could help or should help, really. I mean, when you suffer the death of a loved one, that's it. And you have to live with that. And there's really no way to explain it, but for people who are living this experience, if they understand that this is a spiritual process, that the planet is trying to evolve and heal and transform herself, and because of our past life choices, because we constantly choose to not take ownership, not take responsibility, we try to make other people responsible to save us and do us for us. We have to take full self-ownership and self-responsibility. And as we do that, we will evolve as beings. And then we don't need to go through these kinds of experiences. But again, it's not a punishing or a judgmental experience. It's just the energetic consequence of the choices we make. It's very hard to understand intellectually, and maybe it's something we really don't even need to understand or explain or analyze. But it is the attitude of how we live with what we're experiencing. To those who lose loved ones, there is no comfort we can really offer. We can just be there for them as much as we can, but I mean, there is no explanation that's going to give any solace, and there can't be. But the fact that someone dies at 1 year old from the virus, it's the soul. The soul in the body chose this experience because they may have seen that this was a way of helping them to move on in a more expedient way. Some spiritual beings choose to be born with a disease or to die young because of the karmic lessons it teaches the parents, the family, and the people around them. Sometimes they choose to act out this kind of situation for what it can trigger and teach those around them. We don't know how many of these beings are working out a past karmic issue and how many are just acting these roles for what it provokes in those around them and what it can hopefully teach and wake them up to. We don't know.
And it doesn't seem to judge as well on what people have been up to in this lifetime. Because I mean, look, I'll say that you could be an offender, like a hard offender in prison. There's lots of hard offenders in prisons, and most of those prisoners are going to make it through this disease. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
So I mean, and it could be someone that's got a real crappy past. That's there's that says to himself, well, why did I survive? And that there's other people that had done nothing didn't. That's because it's not your time. Do you know what I mean? There's things that you've still got to work out.
It's not your time, and it depends on the experience we need for our own inner healing, for our own growth, for our own transformation. I think it's best to not even try to worry about why me or why not me, or because we're not going to really get answers. I think it's more the attitude in how you live what's going on. And if you can live with what's going on and not get caught up in all this panic, if you can accept that there is a positive transformational process taking place, if you're willing to accept that and trust that, it helps you to work with it more. It helps you perhaps find a safety or a peace so you can connect deep within yourself and work within yourself and make some development and growth in your own consciousness.
Well, that's beautifully said. Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, let's just go to some other countries as well, because obviously, you've talked about some of the group consciousness that you've tuned into, but then you look at China, and they report like 3,000 deaths, which most people know is not true.
China has been lying from the very beginning.
Of course.
I have friends who came from Wuhan, where it started, who have family and friends in China. And many Chinese in other countries, have been getting emails and calls from within China saying China's been lying about the number from the very beginning. The death toll could very well be over 1 million just in China. And the number of people who have had the virus, to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands. China is not being honest. So we can't really relate to any information with China because they've been hiding everything. But China has this history, of China and Russia too, because Russia, we don't know how many people. They've clamped down. They aren't saying how many people really have died or haven't. But these are countries, the people who choose to be born in China and Russia are often spiritual beings who are terrified to take responsibility for themselves. They want to be told what to do and how to do it. They want someone to take care of everything for them. They don't want to be responsible. And so they have a history of being ruled, by tyrants, by really, really heartless tyrants. And now they have to learn to take responsibility for themselves. They have to take ownership of self-authority and stop giving away all the responsibility to someone else. Very religious people are suffering. People are still going to the churches and the mosques, and it's just spreading through them because they see God as a separate external being, who's going to save them if you believe in them the right way. Well, sorry, it doesn't work that way. So people have to take ownership. God is every single atom in existence. There is no separation. God is the totality. Every atom in existence is God. And we are the totality. And every single atom is a hologram of the totality. So people have to stop using governmental and religious structure as an excuse to avoid self-responsibility. And this is part of, what Mother Earth is trying to do with the virus, to get everybody so isolated with themselves. So there's no one to talk to but yourself, to really find who are you really, and not this addicted dependency on someone else to do it for you and save you.
Yeah, and of course, there's not just the fear of the virus. There's also obviously been the panic in the stock markets and everything else. Do you know what I mean? Lots of things have collapsed. It just went to show how fragile that our system was. And
most humans don't know how to value themselves, and they only value money and possessions and what they do. So many people judge other people by how much money they have, what job they have, what clothes they wear, where they live. None of these things that mean anything. So the economic crash is just a mirror of the illusion of money. It has nothing to do with real value. Value is in yourself, how you feel and live and are yourself. That's where value is, not in what you do, not in what you have, not where you live. This is all meaningless, and people need to start letting go of that. And this also then brings us to, look at the United States. The United States is also getting way out of control. United States is so addicted to money. It's so addicted to, what you do and where you live and what you do, how you're dressed and what you have. And we aren't even yet talking about the enormous mass conscious karma of the genocide of the Native Americans. They practically wiped out a whole people just because they weren't white and Christian. Well, there's this accrued group karma that has to be dealt with, and that's coming to the surface now. So who do you have as president right now? Fascist, Trump, who's doing exactly down the line what Hitler did. He's ruling exactly the way Hitler did, step by step by step. He's turned America into a fascist country, and this is the karma of the genocide towards the Native Americans and the over materialism of the society. But again, Mother Earth isn't judging or punishing. She simply wants this consciousness off of her. She wants it off. And people either have to let go of it or they have to go with it. She wants only humans who take total self-ownership, total self-responsibility, who love and value themselves because they are who they are, not because of what they do or what they have. This is what she wants. And so we have to let go. This virus is about letting go of a lot of external crap that became an overcompensation for who we really are as spiritual beings. And Mother Earth is finished with being a planet for that kind of consciousness. She wants them to move on and continue their lessons somewhere else. Those of us who are going to continue with her, we have to change our attitude and our self-perceptions 100%.
Okay, but if we don't, if when this does die down and things eventually go back to normal, which they will in the long run, right? And if we don't make those changes,
nope. Sorry, nope. This is just one virus, and this virus has already mutated hundreds of times. This is just one virus. There will be other viruses. We haven't even started yet with the accelerations of the earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions and the tornadoes and the hurricanes and the tsunamis and wars and terrorism. No, it's not. It's going to go up and down. People will have a false security when it goes down, but then it'll come up again as something else. Astrologically, we're in this process for another 4 years. This is going to last 4 years, astrologically. This is a cleansing and a transformational process it's going to go on for years. And it's going to go up and down. There will be windows of opportunity here and there, but it'll always be something else, and very quickly, for at least the next 4 years.
That's what you're feeling?
Yes.
That's interesting. That is goddamn interesting that you say that.
Because people aren't going to get away with anything. You've got to take ownership, or okay, then we'll move you on.
Well, okay. What's your process in all this then? I mean, what are you doing for yourself? And are you just? How are you coping?
I continue working. I'm working on another past life memory novel, which brings up other issues that I have to re-experience and go through. I'm with myself. I feel no panic whatsoever. I feel completely safe. I don't have any, I don't have any fear that my needs won't be taken care of. I feel completely safe. So I'm with myself, just living my life. I write my book when I feel to. If people want readings, I do readings for them. Some people write me and ask for my insights. I share what my insights are. That either helps them or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, never mind. I just live my life, and I live my life in my flat, and I live by the limitations, and I follow the rules, and I just let. I call this the great soap opera, and I just let the soap opera do its thing, however long it needs to do it.
So before you go, then, so just bringing this back to, we've spoken about fear and panic. What would you say? How can we alleviate that fear and panic? If someone's got all the way to this far of the podcast or the video and they're still not getting it, what would you say to them?
Well, people have to find their way how to do this themselves. A lot of people that I know, they're getting more in contact with their creative abilities. I have a lot of friends who are painting and composing music and writing novels or poetry, and they get in touch with their fear through their creative expression. They let the fears come up and express themselves through creative expression, and then they dialogue with the fear through the painting, the singing, the composing, the writing. Creativity is a very good way to dialogue with what's going on inside of you. I work with dreams a lot, so I'll often ask for dreams to show me what issues, and then I work with the dreams. It's a way of relating to yourself. Um, it's a discipline to remind yourself that even though this looks horrendous, and I mean in many ways it is, um, it's a positive process. It is a cleansing, transforming process. I keep reminding myself of that. Another way, really powerful way, is working with animals. Animals are the masters in being totally 100% in the moment. And the animals are so attuned to Mother Nature. They're just totally aligned. And interacting with animals is really helpful in bringing up and overcoming fears. When you can just kind of share yourself with animals, it's just incredible how their natural state of being so grounded, so thoroughly in the moment, is really helpful in bringing a sense of safety and security, and helping to feel more calm. Working with your creativity and spending more time with animals. They are really, really powerful teachers in how to work through the fear and find the calmness and the clarity within you. I feed birds a lot, and I'm very telepathic with animals. I have great conversations with the birds, and the birds I've been feeding lately, they laugh. They say, well, I'm going to tell you what the birds say. They say humans are so stupid. And I said, well, okay, I mean, I agree, but I mean, stupidity is a judgment. But what is stupidity? Stupidity comes out of fear. And humans, the biggest lesson is how to work through fear by not being afraid of fear, by not trying to get rid of it. Fear is a fire alarm teaching you there's a fire. Fears teach you what you need to learn so you can become more confident and safe within yourself. So I said to the birds, well, yeah, humans are acting stupidly, but I mean, but that's how it is. And the birds said to me, well, they think God is a being separate and external. I mean, what can you do? And I said, yes, but that is a learning process that humans need to go through. And then, the birds shake their heads and go on. But I mean, working with animals, communicating with animals is a really, really powerfully beneficial way to help work with your own fear.
Well, William, if you were going to leave us with one very quick, important message, what would that be?
Do the best you can not to panic. Try to find how you can to feel the reality that something beneficial is manifesting. And if you can find some way to find the trust in that, it's going to help you to get through this and to get through it more calmly and more secure. And Donald just passed me a note. Love your fears. Yeah, if you can learn to not fear your fear and not try to get rid of it, love your fears for the opportunities they're trying to teach you. Fear is trying to teach you where you need to build self-confidence and self-awareness in yourself. That will really help substantially.
Well, you know what, William? I'm sure we'll get you on again, but it's always wonderful to get you on. Obviously, we couldn't do this in person. We've had to do this over the phone, but it's worked. And I just want to say to you, William, just thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it.